Hello, monsters and men, ladies and ugly people. My name is Josh Withers. This little ditty is just a few seconds of me downloading all my years of experience and thoughts and opinions about getting married into a little thing that we call a podcast and or a vlog. This is a little ditty that the weird people can listen to and say, you know what, I reckon my wedding could be better because of this. This is a podcast for the odd ones out that look at all the blogs and the magazines and think, I just don't think that's me, if you know what I'm talking about. This is a podcast for the rebels. This is the Rebel's Guide to Getting Married. Today we're talking about something that no one talks about. I can guarantee you that this word has never been the title of a blog post on a practical wedding or on Hello May or on Martha. I can guarantee you Martha Stewart's not talking about this. This is a word that you won't see published in any other wedding publication because, well, I've got to be honest with you. It's way sexier than wet weather backups, but it's not as sexy as like, this is color themes, because it's something that's really hard to actually talk about, which is why I'm not really going to lecture on it today, which, you know, it's totally my vibe, lecturing people. But I'm just going to spend a few seconds giving you a few examples of how this word has impacted on me as a marriage celebrant, standing at the front of weddings, and just, I hope that maybe you could take it a little bit into your soul so that as you're creating your wedding, heck, as you're creating your life, that this could be something you just have in the back of your mind. The word is vibe. Vibe. Such an undescribable kind of aspect because you can't measure a vibe. You can't put vibe in a bottle. You can't order more vibe. It's just exists. It just stands there. And my job as a celebrant is to try and wrangle that vibe, try and create a vibe, usher in a vibe. And there's so many things that affect that. Recently, I've been at ceremonies where there's kids. And you know what? Kids are kids, but kids being at your ceremony, and I'm talking like a lot of kids. I'm talking like a large number of kids. They bring a certain vibe. No kids brings another different kind of vibe. The ceremony being kind of far away from the guests brings like a performy, kind of like a stage production kind of vibe. Being too close is like a too close vibe. Like if I'm right up in your face like that, you're like, oh, that's a bit weird. Or if I'm all the way back here, just starts creating different vibes. Also, you can't hear me as much. Thunder. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's thunder. If you can't, it sounds like blah, 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 blah. But there's much bigger thunder than my voice. Vibe is something that we often walk away from a wedding and describe it in certain ways. And we'll talk about the food or the drinks or the whatever. But what we're actually talking about is the vibe. You see, my job as a celebrant is one where I can't really usher in a vibe as much as I talked about it before, and I kind of tell people I can. All I can really do is turn up the volume on an existing vibe. And I can influence the vibe. Like there's things, this is an Australian culture thing. If there's seats laid out for a ceremony, like there always is, Australians just bloody well won't sit in them because we're all so lovely and polite. We'll all sit there and like, oh, you know, you sit, I'm saving the seat for someone else. Like, yeah, but the ceremony's about to begin, mate, and all the seats are empty, and this place is lacking vibe terribly because if I'm giving a seminar, for example, to an empty room, that brings a really crappy vibe. That's part of the reason I ask people to put phones away in the ceremony. Like, I know there's photographer reasons, there's videographer reasons. My reason? Vibe. Like if I'm sitting here like this, just talking to you guys, and that's a sucky vibe. But I put my phone down and I give you all my attention. That's the better vibe. That if you have maybe a round of drinks before the ceremony, brings a certain kind of vibe. If you have a paid bar, another kind of vibe. Now, I'm not saying any of these is right or wrong, but maybe just try and think about what kind of vibe it all does. White linen, certain kind of vibe. No linen, or like fancy things on tables, or a buffet, or a sit-down 3-course meal. All of these different options affect the vibe. The actual celebrant you have kind of vibe. If you get a personal photographer, like Josh Withers, I am Josh Withers, but I haven't got a wedding photography business. But if you get Josh Withers wedding photography, that brings a certain kind of vibe. Then Studio X photography, where you don't know who your photographer is, but God, thank God you saved $1,000 because that photographer you've never met will bring a certain kind of vibe compared to another kind of vibe that a personal photographer might bring. If your videographer and your photographer don't get along, certain kind of vibe. Very common. DJ, live music, good DJ, good band, cheap DJ, cheap band, all different vibes. Vibe, I would say, is this underlying river that runs beneath your whole wedding that you, unless you're actually thinking about it, you'll end up with a certain kind of vibe and you'll blame it on someone. You'll be like, the photographer was crap. But the photographer's just picking up the vibe that's there. You see, as much as we would love to place the blame on all of our wedding vendors for how awesome or crap our wedding was, and this guy, you see how I said the word awesome? Because we can't take the credit for that either. Because what's actually happening is vibe. It's all vibe management. And if I, as a celebrant, walk into a ceremony where there's awesome vibe, I'll make an awesome ceremony. If I walk into a ceremony where there's not great vibe, I don't know. I've got to work hard that day. It's a struggle. I've got photographer friends that would tell me that they can shoot 2 different weddings with the exact same skill level, equipment, SD cards, filters, whatever. One will be amazing, one will be terrible because the vibe's just not there. I don't want to saddle you with this big, awkward, long responsibility, but maybe it's something you could think about. As you look at your budget and you go cheap on some things and expensive on others, what kind of vibe will that bring? As you think about the people that will speak into a microphone, whether it's an MC or your celebrant, me as your MC, or what kind of celebrant you have, or what you tell us to do, what kind of vibe will that bring? Even your photographer and your videographer, and let's extend this to florists and stylists as well. Sign people, all that kind of thing. As you encroach on their creativity and kind of tell them how to do their job, will you be bringing a different kind of vibe as opposed to you saying, "Hey, Jim, photographer, just do what you think is amazing." And I hope that you've got someone that's creative and skilled enough to do that, because I know that not so skilled photographers will be like, "Oh, I actually would like a shot of this because I don't know what I'm doing." Vibe is that thing that we just can't measure, we can't put our heads around, but yet it affects everything. My name is Josh Withers. I certainly do bring the vibe. I'm a marriage celebrant. You can find me online at marriedbyjosh.com. And I hope that even this whole series of podcasts and vlogs will bring a certain kind of vibe to your wedding planning that would be helpful and lovely. And if it is, maybe, hey, you could tell someone. Like, you could say, "Hey, Mum." I don't know if Mum wants to listen to this. Mum might not like this. Don't tell your mum. Between you and me, Mum doesn't know. But tell someone. So, hey, you should check out The Rebels Guide to Getting Married. The website's therebels.guide. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, websites, all your favorite podcast things, YouTube. Get onto it. This is The Rebels Guide to Getting Married. Have a spectacular day.